Hey there, welcome back to the City Project. I'm playing one-handed right now because I've got Sandy and she's being naughty. Say hello, Sandy. Sandy says hello. Anyways, completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, this terrain, I'm really happy with it. I tried a new method that I haven't really attempted before. Instead of setting myself a time limit and finishing with whatever I finish in that time limit, I set myself a goal and then just did that goal and nothing else. So the goal, of course, here was to finish shaping it, which I did, and then I quit. And to be honest, I feel really good about it. So I think I'm going to use this approach more often with this series. Anyways, as of last episode, we're not really focusing on terrain anymore. We're gonna focus on something else this episode, and that something else is this little guy over here. If you are curious about my methods with terrain, I've explained it pretty thoroughly in previous episodes, so you can go check those out if you're curious. Anyways, this thing. What is this thing, and why are there 3 of them? My goal for this episode is I want to get back into building buildings instead of terrain and buildings, because the last few episodes I've been kind of hopping between the two, and it's been, well, to be honest, kind of exhausting. So this episode, I wanted to focus purely on a single building, and this is that building. Now, as to why there are 3 of them, it's because I'm just kind of stuck on the style. I'm not quite sure how I want to approach it. I'm kind of trying to balance my skill, which is minimal when it comes to swoopy organics, and, the vision I want to accomplish here. So, I have to choose between my saucers, my swoopy, and my other swoopy. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with the saucers. These two are promising to be pretty difficult. I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull them off convincingly, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with the saucers, but that could be subject to change. Anyways, you might be wondering, well, this building, it's pretty complicated. What's it for? This area down here, I want to make into a huge wildlife park that kind of mirrors the park I intend to put up here. And I thought, hey, if there's going to be a giant park, there better be a wildlife conservatory somewhere. And this area is pretty central to this area and that area. And so I thought, why not put it here? So then, citizens could come in and see what flora and fauna inhabit these lovely areas. Well, I mean, they're not too lovely right now, but they will be eventually. Hello, this is Editing Kid from the future, interrupting myself because I completely forgot to mention the fact that the location of this conservatory is actually based on a real-life building, the Deep Bay Marine Field Station on Vancouver Island, which is also kind of perched on a bit of a hill. It's quite a neat building, so if you want some modern architecture inspiration, go ahead and look it up on Google Images. I mentioned this last episode, but I think it bears repeating that when I hit record sometimes, my ability to just talk and ramble on about stuff coherently just out the window goes. And the reason I mention it now is because it's been over a month since I've recorded, so please bear with me. I've been on a trip. That said, I haven't been skimping out on building. I've been building on this world for the entire trip, on and off. Because I loaded it into my laptop and had some fun there. I've also got some time lapses I made. I don't know if the time lapses are actually going to be effective because I have to have the render distance so low to make it work properly on the laptop. So you might have seen them, you might have not, I'm not sure. Anyways, let's talk about what I did, starting with this tunnel, which is pretty cool. Here's a shed. I thought it was neat. There's no real reason for the design. I just wanted to make something circle and gray and green. I don't know, I was building that hostel last episode over here, and I really like the gray-green contrast, so I thought I would try exercising it again in a slightly different way here, and I think it worked out. As for this tunnel, I had quite the difficulty getting the roof to work. Originally, I had the roof sloping down with the road, and I had a slightly different slope on the road, but because of the arch, it just didn't really work, and so I thought, you know what, instead of trying to make it a shape that would work, and busting my brain, I just made it straight and then kept the ground nice and sloped, and it worked out. Which is actually better than my first alternative, which was to keep the ground also flat and just have a big hill at the end of the tunnel, which would have completely destroyed the purpose of the tunnel in the first place, which is to have a nice gradual slope. Okay, to the main attraction, I can't find the sign I put down. I have a sign somewhere where I wrote down the notes I was gonna talk about this thing, but I can't find it anywhere. That's so funny. Found it. Okay. Man, this is really incoherent. So I know what I was getting at now, which is nice. This is the beginning of the conservatory, and I love it. I used the circle template, obviously, but I made it quite a lot bigger because I was looking at pictures of sort of like the what do we even call them? Like fun worlds? They're like, well, there's Science World. That's a thing here in Canada. I guess Science World, we'll call it Science World. They're usually pretty big, and they've got lots of glass, and the architecture is fairly modern, and so I thought, you know what, I need to up the scale, so I did. Now, what I was getting at with the note up there is most of the stuff on the ceiling you can't actually see from the ground, and as you might know if you've watched this series for a while, my mentality with this whole city is that you want to be able to experience it all from the ground. And obviously we can't do that with the tops of it because there's no way to access the top and you can't see most of it from down here. And yeah, that is true. However, I do also want things to be complete. So I thought, what the heck? Let's make a part of an exhibit on the top just because we can, right? To fill the space. I'd rather this than just a blank green space, which I absolutely could have done to most of the same effect from the bottom. This isn't a ceiling, this is a roof, Kian. Come on, get it together. Anyways, my point still stands. Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff here. There's some flora, and then over here I'm going to build miniature examples of the 3 trees I've done previously. So I've got the spruce, the oak, and then the birch, which is mostly in the university campus, so you can see one right there. And then down here are the flowers for fun to smell and look at. Lots of the little information plaques you can read and benches to sit on. Oh, and these two pillars, one of them is sort of just like a general sort of air conditioning sort of thing. So this is where all the pumps and heating and stuff would be. And then over here is the stairwell/elevator area. Anyways, on the topic of roof stuff, we come down to my second set of signs, where we're gonna misspell some things really horribly. As you can see here, there's a bit of a flower sculpture that you can look at. This flower sculpture is based on those here in Canada. I don't know how common this is elsewhere in the world, but sometimes we have these telephone towers, reception towers or whatever, that are disguised as trees, and honestly they're kind of hideous. I don't like them, but they're nonetheless an inspiration for this flower, and its purpose is kind of twofold. One, it works the same way as those reception towers. It's supposed to look like a disguise of a reception antenna or whatever, and 2, I thought it would be a really interesting marker for the building given its theme of flora and fauna, but more flora than fauna in this case. And I placed it in this spot particularly for a very specific reason, because you can see it from almost anywhere on this hill. I want the buildings in the city to be kind of identifiable from a distance. And so in order to be identifiable from a distance, you have to be able to see it from a distance. And so the purpose of this flower is to show what the building does and also be seen from a distance. And obviously down here, most of the building is obscured by trees and stuff, but not that flower. So you can see, hey, that building has something to do with flowers, and go over to check it out. This also kind of compounds too, because of course my buildings aren't going to have interiors, and so you can't go inside a building to find its purpose, and so you have to determine that purpose from the outside, and this flower also helps with just that. This is kind of the background philosophy of most of the buildings in this city. I just haven't really discussed it all that much before because this building kind of embodies it a little bit more. Maybe we should move on to actually doing some stuff instead of talking about what we've done, hey? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, me. Alright, so behind me and beneath me are 2 things. Yes, very cool. These things are 1, a bridge, and 2, an entrance. Now, this bridge is very important because it's going to span the entire width of this forest, all the way to some city block area over there. The main city, we'll call it. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it will be there eventually. And because that's the main city, we're going to be expecting a lot of traffic coming this way. And so, instead of having a main entrance all the way behind the conservatory up on the hill, we're going to make this right here the main entrance of the building. Now, this bridge is a little bit sketchy because it wouldn't really work in real life. Originally, I was going to do like a path down through the forest, but I thought, no, it might look cooler and have the semblance of more respect for the landscape if we have a bridge over top. Now, of course, in real life, you can't really build a bridge without clearing tons and tons of the area beneath. So, in fact, this would probably be more harmful to the environment than helpful if we put it in real life. But luckily, this isn't real life. This is Minecraft, and so we can break the rules like that. And so this is going to be a bridge over top of a forest, and it's going to look really cool. Oh, and before we move on, another correction. By traffic, I mean people traffic, not car traffic. Contrary to last episode, we are not building a 16-lane superhighway that will cut through the mountains. That was a joke. April Fools. I hope you enjoyed that episode, though I really liked making it. But no, that's not going to be part of the city. Uh-oh, problem time. This building is quite weak on this side. Look at it. It's just, because that's where the top of the lower area is going to be, and then, yeah, it is just weird, and I'm not sure I like it. And so there are a couple solutions I was thinking of while I was building that I thought I would share with you right now. And they're over here on these lovely signs. So, one, we could do tree cover and just build it as is and just make this a pretty low area and continue that line, basically, to the end here, and then, cover it with trees, and that would pretty much, solve the problem, kind of. It's pretty much the same solution I use for most of my stuff if I don't feel like building, either because I'm too lazy or because I don't know what I'm doing. So that's a con, but a pro is that, well, trees. We love trees. Trees are cool. And the other option is to make this part big and tall. And the pro for that is we don't need trees to cover up our bad building. We can just have a good building. But a con is I have to design another part, and an additional con is the fact that the building's going to look really weird from this side now. Because my whole idea was to have it, sloping down in layers, and, just kind of clinging to the side of the hill. And having a big skyscraper element there is going to disrupt that a little bit. But wait, there's more! Yeah, problems! It's just too big. I got carried away with the design. And as a result, it almost feels like a different scale compared to everything else in the city. It's not too obvious from here, but if I go over here, for example, and I just compare, say, I don't know, the library over there, which is one of my bigger buildings, to this, and it's just, they're almost in completely different worlds. Okay, you know what, actually, now that I look at it, the library isn't so bad, but let's say comparing to the student housing, it's a completely different scale, and I don't know if they work very well together. It feels like they're meant to be in two different cities, or at least on opposite ends of a city, so having them in such close proximity is not quite the contrast I was hoping for. So I'm not really sure what I should do, honestly. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Anyways, in the meantime, I think it would be fun to look at what I've done so far. Here I am in the trash can, gotta have good waste disposal here. But yeah, here's the main entrance that I was talking about before. I've got the nice flower pillars, or stem pillars, I guess. Put a little flower decal on the roof because I didn't want it to be blank, I guess. I don't know. I'm still not quite sure how I feel about this. I might take it out later, or if we're redesigning the whole building, it won't be there anyways. But I'm really enjoying these flower pillars, so I put them over here too to kind of hold up this section, where I've used the dark oak log as kind of a reference to the entrance on this side, whereas it's the only other place where I've used the dark oak log. I kind of forgot about it when I was designing everything else, so I thought, oh, I gotta include that somewhere else too. Keep it nice and consistent. So yeah, this is supposed to be another one of those green spaces on the roofs, although this one's going to have a little bit of a park, I think. So some more room to run around, although I'm going to have to figure out a way to fence it off so it doesn't look like kids can just fly off the edges. And here's another antenna that I made. I don't quite like this one as much. It's a little bit messy, but I tried to keep it artificial in the same vein as this one for the same reasons as this one over here. and it serves the same function as well. Finally, I thought it would be nice to add some weird modern art on the sides of the building, although this one isn't necessarily really weird and modern. It's pretty obviously flowers. At least I tell myself that. I don't know, I didn't really think this design too thoroughly through, but it's there and I like it enough. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm just having such a tough time with this building. I think this is definitely the longest I've spent on a single structure in this city thus far. So yeah, maybe I'm approaching it wrong. I'm not sure. It is still a fun learning opportunity or experience, I guess. But it's kind of exhausting. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do next. This episode's kind of stalled a little bit, hasn't it? Oh well. So I've given it some thought, and I've decided to just end the episode here. I built this house. I thought, you know what, I'm not just gonna leave you with nothing. So I've kind of finished this whole corner area here, and I thought what would be great to kind of cap things off is to give you guys a shader tour. So let's do that. I put red sandstone down here because I thought it might be neat to have an interesting color, and it just looks like mud. Oh well, I'm keeping it. It's cool. So yeah, there's this area I've decorated behind here. Lots of trees, which is pretty fun. And yeah, very atmospheric. I love these areas. These are my favorite parts of the city, just with all the trees and stuff. Now, last episode, if you remember, not the April Fool's episode, but the episode before, I forgot to give a shader tour of this, so I'm going to show you this as well. As if you remember last time, this was sort of my Studio Ghibli protagonist house inspired house thing. And so lots of nature, just like this whole area. So that's pretty cool. And I suppose it's worthwhile showing you the actual down-to-earth perspective because that's all the city's about, right? So I really like this area. I spent a lot of effort on this balcony, actually, so let's walk up there. Might be fun. You look down at the vineyard and stuff. There's definitely more stuff I can add, and eventually, of course, we're going to have trees all along this top here, so it's going to be quite a lot more sheltered than it already is. And then the front yard deserves some love, too. It's really messy. I might actually tone it down a little bit at some point, but for now, I'm enjoying the spectacle. Just the absolute chaos, which is, of course, the point. And then here, I guess, is our monstrosity that I don't really want to work on right now. I think I'm going to work on it on my own in the future. I might tear it down completely. I might try to push this design through. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it yet. But as I said earlier, if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I'd love to see them. Oh, shoot, I nearly forgot the tunnel. So here's the tunnel. Also, I put some power lines in. I actually have some power lines thoughts to share with you. It's getting a bit out of hand over here, as you can see, but my idea was that this is sort of like the central power area thing, so it's going to receive power from wherever else, and it's all going to be distributed from here onto this little hill area. And so, yeah, I've got a great number of power lines, and I wasn't sure if I should stack them 4 high. It seems a bit excessive, especially for this area, and it doesn't really fit. I don't like it. It's getting to the point where it's ugly for, the sake of being ugly, and I'm not sure I like that. Anyways, I tried to push some power lines up here because I thought it might be neat to put them on top of the hill to go over here, and then I started second guessing myself, and so I'm going to leave that for next time. I've also got another reason that these are going to go up here, but I'll also leave that for next time. What else is there to show you? Oh, right, I was going to look at the tunnel, and then I just completely sidelined myself. So the tunnel is the same sort of idea with the power lines. I thought it might be neat to kind of have a small power line go through the tunnel to like power the lights in here and then connect down to the lights on this bridge just so they have a reason to be there. Now, I could say, hey, they're actually putting the power through the ground, and I've done that before in this city, but I thought, you know what, it might be nice to just try to show this infrastructure anyways, see what it looks like. And then I haven't yet attached this to there. I don't know if I'm going to keep this all set up yet. Bird bath. All right. That's the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me just frame myself nicely so we can finish off in this nice, cool backyard with lots of shade. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any feedback to give, go ahead and give it. What else am I supposed to say? Have a nice day? Yeah, have a nice day. All right, bye. I have Sandy on my lap, and it's really hot, and just cat fur everywhere. Oh my goodness, it's in the air, it's just floating.